jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports.
Big shout out to the hottest chat in the MFing game, A-Side Official. You already know the first in the building, WCS on deck. Yes, sir. Happy Sunday. Go lucky. For those of you that's in church service early this morning or right now as we speak, you're supposed to be paying attention to the sermon and you're busy online, social media. If you listen to me, you're blessed, okay? Let me go ahead and bless you. I'm saying, let me flick some of that water on you. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you nothing but prayers and good blessings and prosperity. Let's get down to this Boxing Talk 2024, y'all. As you see, it's a lot going on this thumbnail. You know what I'm saying? First off, hold on for a second. First off, we got Jahad Tucker. He's due set for his return back to the ring. You know what I'm saying? He has a tough opponent. A.K.A. Electric Boogie. One of the most exciting fighters, entertaining fighters in the sport. And it's only a matter of time before he get his shine. You know what I'm saying? There's been some turbulence for whatever reason that may be. But look, like I always look at it, it's better to have it early and having experienced it and then know how to deal with it, because they say you're supposed to mature, right? The older you get, the more you're supposed to mature. That's the way I look at it with him. He experienced it early. So, it's nothing but up. So he's going to be set to return back to the ring. So I can assure you it's going to be another, electric performance. Spontaneous freaking showcase for him. Continue to improve, continue to let the people know he's one of the contenders, even though he cannot get the respect of being one of the top 10 prospects. he is one of the top two prospects, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? He is definitely one of the top two prospects. I'm talking about him being number one, and whoever else comes in number 2, 3, 4, 5. Real talk. That's the way I see it. You know, I see him being a top two prospect, and whoever comes in second, third, and fourth, I don't know who they may be, but no specific order. All right. As you know, Canelo Alvarez, right? And shout out to Team Tucker. Shout out to Shaw News. You know, shout out to Team Coach Terry, the father, music, Coach Tucker. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to his brother. You know what I'm saying? Jamali Tucker. And also shout out to, you know, Shaw News, his daughters that he have on the scene. You know what I'm saying? They learn fast, man. They learning very, very fast. And people may, you know, hear me say that he's one of the hottest in the game, right? The reason why I say that is because I'm looking at task. I'm looking at the task. You know what I'm saying? The task. How many tasks, how many positions are you holding down and contributing to the sport? You know, he's taking, you know, the frames, the stills. He's doing video interviews, and also his role that he plays as an insider in the sport of boxing. He's a multitasker. You know what I'm saying? He's holding different positions. That's why I say from where he was then and where he is now, he is absolutely one of the hottest in the game. Some people get it confused with views. You know what I'm saying? Some people get it confused with views. Once again, some of you get it confused with views. They can sit on here and do a live stream, and then they believe that's supposed to basically put the stamp of approval on what you're worth to the boxing game. I get it. A part of that value is true. You know what I'm saying? You're on social media. You utilize this platform to speak on boxing content. But I've always looked at it like it's better to be a man of many, you know what I'm saying, than a man of one. And I look at him as being a man of many, you know what I'm saying, tasks that he's handling right now for Team Tucker. And he's doing an outstanding job with his growth. So salute to them. Salute to Coach Rain. You know what I'm saying? The Saya and the whole crew over there. Keep on doing your thing. One of the hottest in the game, man. Last night, Edgar Berlanga, you know, pretty much fought an Irishman, McCrory, who was tough, you know what I'm saying, in the early going. And this fight was supposed to build up Berlanga's appraising value to fight Canelo Alvarez in the future. Per Eddie Hearns. Okay, Eddie Hearns is the one that's been pushing this, and I haven't really heard too many other people, you know, pushing this. It's just been Eddie Hearns like he always do. If you sign with Eddie Hearns, he's gonna sell it. You know, he's gonna sell you a lemon, and sometimes he's gonna sell you a real one. But this is no different. When they talking about, hey, Edgar needs a knockout to basically, you know, stamp that he's back. You know what I'm saying? He's at 168 to look impressive. He need a knockout tonight. This is what it's gonna be. You know, this is how it's gonna go down for Edgar Berlanga to prove to the people that he belongs in there with Canelo Alvarez. And anybody who watched that fight know that's just the opposite. He don't belong in there with Canelo Alvarez. A lot of people, including myself, believe he should fight Hummy McGee next. You know what I'm saying? He should fight Hummy McGee. He's not ready for Canelo. I don't want to see a Mel Charlo effect anymore. I don't want to see an Avni Yildirim. I don't want to see a Rocky Fielding, because I don't think he goes past 3, to be honest. I don't think Edgar Berlanga goes past 3 if he's in there with Canelo. Seriously. It's a lot of fighters that I say that okay, when it was coming to David Benavidez, I say, what's the benefit of David Benavidez fighting him? But this is the fight that I give Morrell, since everybody like hyping him up. He don't have a resume either. But he definitely has enough to basically say that he can step in there with Edgar Berlanga. And if you didn't see Morrell last night, and Morrell was ringside, he said, "Uno, all it takes is uno, one round." Morrell said, "Just gonna take one round, man." Hey, I believe him. I believe him, dog. I believe it's gonna take him one round to get Berlanga up out of there. He will blitz Berlanga. You know what I'm saying? Put David Morrell in there with Edgar Berlanga. You know, somebody that's a top opponent. I didn't find McCrory to be a top opponent, bro. Like, what is he supposed to get out of McCrory, though? Who is he? You know what I'm saying? Put him in there with a top opponent. You can't just say he gonna get Canelo next just because he's a mandatory. Put him in there with freaking Morrell and see how that work out. That Canelo fight will go poof. It will smoke out. That smoke will evaporate. It's over. Because there's no way people gonna convince me that the right hand that he continues to throw over and over again is gonna do anything special with Morrell. Real talk. Because Morrell is an active fighter, man. He's not going to be backing up and backing up and backing up. And one thing I noticed, people are not criticizing Berlanga, you know what I'm saying, for doing, you know, for having a lack of activity. A lack of activity. The first half of the fight, they'll get on Shakur Stevenson, but Shakur Stevenson was popping a jab. You know what I'm saying? He was popping a jab. It's a difference between low activity and basically what are your execution? What are you executing during that low activity? If you're throwing 1 to 2 punches, you know what I'm saying, every 20 some seconds or whatever the case may be, what are you putting together? What is your punch selection? That's all I'm asking. When Shakur Stevens was idle for a little bit, he had a very astute punch selection. That jab, his jab when he threw it out there was accurate. Target precedence. Berlanga was just walking and walking and walking and walking until McCrory stops, get in front of him, and then try to land a power shot. You know, McCrory landed some good shots on freaking Berlanga too. And then, you know, Berlanga reset, they move, no jabs, no nothing. Then he comes in, try to start loading up on the right hand in the third round. I said, where are the jabs at? How are you going to get past a fighter like Canelo with no freaking jab, man? It ain't no way in hell you think that's going to happen. And then I'm looking at Berlanga too, and Crawford sent out a tweet, and he say, that So Cold was smashing. I believe him. So Cold, in my opinion, was doing more dirty than the David Morrell. Real talk. Because one thing people, you know, those of you that don't pay attention, like Steve Nelson can fight. You know what I'm saying? Dude is fundamentally sound, tough, durable fighter, and people underappreciate him because they haven't really given themselves the opportunity to get to know who he is. But he would do Edgar Berlanga dirtier than Morrell will. That's a fact in my eyes. That's two fighters that Edgar Berlanga should fight before he even get a chance to fight Canelo. You know what I'm saying? If he want to go in there with a name, a notable name, you know, pick Steve Nelson. Right now, Dave Morrell is holding the belt. Pick Dave Morrell if you feel like you somebody. That's all I'm saying. Shout out to Smoke Session Sports and Entertainment in the building. I see you. What's good? Salute to you. All the rest of them. Shout out to the news by Shot News. Sauce Experience. What's good with the Team Tucker official in the building? He said, I'm feeling David. He said he stops him in one round. Wow, I love that energy. Yeah, man. It was a heavy Puerto Rican presence. I'm still not buying the stoppage. It's just when a fighter, looks so strong. We're talking about it didn't even get out the 6th round. Berlanga did minimal damage. I'm talking about minimal damage to McCrory. He was just walking. He wasn't even really popping a shot. He landed some shots here and there. But McCrory was landing. He looked strong early in the fight. And then, just like Otto Wallin with Anthony Joshua, it get near the mid rounds, and they started playing the stoppage. Just like Robert Helenius. You know what I'm saying? That's just boxing. That's a reoccurring theme in boxing. I could care less if you believe me or not. Me, I say that. I say that. He didn't even make it out the 6th round. It wasn't a tough fight. And then all of a sudden, Berlanga's hit him with several right hands. It didn't seem like it really had an effect. Yeah, he wobbled a little bit, but that wasn't enough for him to go down and sell the fight. So he posts up against the ropes, and Berlanga hits him, and then his hand drops, and Berlanga hit him again, and the referee comes over there and stop it. I mean, they throw in a towel. However that shit worked, I don't get it. It kind of reminds me of some fights, right? Like Otto Wallin sitting on a stool, retiring. All they was talking about is Anthony Joshua getting back on the winning streak. You know what I'm saying? But what happened? He went in there and the fighter stopped on the stool. I think in this fight the towel came in the ring or whatever. But I'm looking at it like, when did he take punishment? Like, dude took Edgar Berlanga shots pretty damn good. When did he take extensive punishments for the corner to be concerned? When? I'm looking at the orders. I know people say, oh man, you're always talking about, the orders and everything. I continue to talk about them. I continue to talk because these fights are not adding up to me. Tony Weeks can go in there and grab Barroso and people complain, and then they go on to the next. But when the referee don't stop and the fighter is the one that becomes a freaking Olympic diver, they're giving you Greg Louganis special edition. I'm going to talk about it. I didn't think he was in that deep waters to the throughout up to the 6th round that all of a sudden he gets hit with a shot. His corner throws in the towel. That's not the Irish way. I can't name one Irish corner. I'm talking about a corner with an Irish fighter that gets knocked down for the first time. I can't remember it, man. It's so many Irish fighters that I've seen, known for their grit, their toughness, the durability. And all of a sudden, McCrory, he just gets set. And Edgar Berlanga gets the win. I was kind of disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I say ORDS, plural orders. Somebody got the orders, but they had to have Edgar Berlanga look a certain way to build a fight. You know what I'm saying? Just like Jaime Munguia and John Ryder. Canelo couldn't stop John Ryder, but Jaime Munguia takes more punishment than Canelo, and he stops him. He stops him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, bro. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And I don't know, bro. Like, when I look back at the Miguel Berchelt and Oscar Valdez knockout, now that was a real knockout. He got flatlined. That was a legitimate, solid knockout. Legitimate. Point blank period. Ain't nothing, no disputing it. When Shakur Stevenson faced Oscar Valdez, he beat him up for freaking 12 rounds. Legitimate win. Nobody took that dive. You know what I'm saying? Nobody. It's fighters get dropped all the time and get back up and keep on fighting. Period. That Tank Davis, Rolly Romero knockdown, legitimate. Legitimate. Rolly was hurt. He was absolutely hurt. Barroso knocking Rolly Romero down, legit. He was hurt. Ryan Garcia getting hit by freaking Gervonta Davis. He seemed like he was hurt from that body shot. All them knockdowns that Crawford gave to Spence, legit, certified, official. But Jake Paul knocking out his last opponent, fake. Tyrone Woodley, fake. Hell no. Edgar Berlanga last night, McCrory, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it, bro. Because when you hear these fighters, oh, so-and-so needs a knockout. He needs a knockout to impress to get the Canelo fight. Boxing is becoming really a skit-driven sport. It's becoming a skit-driven sport, man. Like, you know, however the communication is, you know, because nonverbal communication is a higher percentage than verbal communication in real life. So it's some, you know, behind the scenes code that is going on that, you know, in language, Eddie say, you know, Berlanga needs a knockout tonight, but your money is in escrow. Everything's taken care of. You know what I mean? No rubbish, no bullocks. Everything is great. You know, I mean, how does a fighter comprehends? They know. It doesn't take much. They know. Hey, so-and-so, you're the B-side, and this is the Edgar Berlanga night. You know, a high Puerto Rican crowd in here to see him, and you're going to touch the canvas. Okay? Not to mention, you know, the corner over there throwing in the towel. And you know what I'm saying? I'm like, how? When does that happen to these Irish fighters, man? Like, they come to scrap. Let me get to some of this freaking. I said that too. For real, so cold. Then I seen your post. Yeah, man, I heard you talking about it over there. You know, so cold, man. You know, underrated freaking fighter, Steve Nelson. Undefeated. You know what I'm saying? Tough go for Edgar Berlanga. You know what I'm saying? Tough go for Edgar Berlanga. That'd be a good fight for him. You know what I'm saying? Out of B&B, you know, I mean, that would be a tough fight. But, you know, Berlanga won't take the fight because he's going to say he's boxing backwards. You know what I'm saying? And your opponent was boxing backwards most of the freaking 6 rounds that you all attended. And all you doing was walking with your hands up. I think it was at least about 3-4 times. I'm not sure. He actually threw the jab, but really he was just trying to walk in and throw the power shot. Like, dude, you can't do that against an elite fighter that's going to make you pay. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Big Blunts and Boxing the Gold in the building. How you feeling, bro? Bram on deck. Good afternoon to you, brother. I'm for real, man. 2024, we about to see the Olympics, man. They up here reminding me of Greg Louganis back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Jumping off the high dive. No water in the pool, making sure they sail the freaking landing. Oh, man, what a splat. He's done for sure. The referee needs to stop the fight. The corner needs to throw in the towel. Where's Mark Breland when you need him? McGill beat up Ryder. Wasn't nothing fake about that win. If I must explain, and I will, boxing is a skit-driven sport. I'm not speaking about what you've seen on TV. I'm speaking about, now we have 2 fights. We have Jaime McGill and we have Edgar Berlanga. Both of those fighters were slated to kind of be in the line, in the soup line, for Canelo serving. Both of them, Jaime Magia and freaking Edgar Berlanga. Both of the fights ended by stoppage. As the example I used, Canelo didn't stop John Ryder, but Jaime Magia did. Find me one person outside of yourself that's going to bet on Jaime Magia to go in there and beat Canelo Alvarez. Put your money on it. You're not going to do it because a smart man wouldn't bet on that. Jaime Magia has zero chance of beating Canelo Alvarez. And then to say that he beat him up, it's boxing at the end of the day. Danny Garcia went 12 round suspense. Boxers know how to move around. What do they do during training? They spar. They know the system. They know the protocol. They know the method to the format. Come on, we can watch a boxer get beat up like Danny Garcia on TV and say, dang, he's better than this. And then he goes in there and beat Jose Benavidez. You know what I'm saying? Or he fought a better fight against Sean Porter for the vacant. You know, these fighters know how to move around, but to say that he beat up John Ryder. John Ryder was on the goddamn dive team too. They up there trying to build up freaking Jaime Magia to face Canelo. They trying to build up Edgar Berlanga to face Canelo. Nobody's not really talking about Jaime Magia right now. You know what I'm saying? Except PBC or something. You know, that's the only people that's trying to talk. And that fight is Mexican against Mexican if you look at it. Okay, you're talking about Edgar Berlanga, Puerto Rican against Mexican? Okay, but who would they want to see more? I don't know. Jaime Magia, because don't nobody know who the hell he is. And he loves standing right there in the pocket and throwing shots and getting hit, you know, and deflecting punches with his face. I mean, he was lit up several times in that fight with Ryder. Several times. But we're not saying that he beat up Ryder like it didn't happen on TV. I'm saying that Ryder could have did better in that fight. He could have did way better in that fight to me. And that Canelo's a way better fighter than Magia, but Magia stops Ryder. How? Shout out to Carlos in the building, man. WCS salute 2024. So has been so far. Hopefully it picks up at the back end. Don't mention that back end now. That's why 2024 is struggling now. That back end now. You know, the back end shout is what got 2024 struggling. That's why Showtime say, no, we got to get back on the front end. We're leaders, not followers. I feel the lower tier fights were better than majority of the top name fights. But that's just me. Yeah, the lower tier fights, man, on these cards are very exciting to say the least, especially when you're looking at Abdullah Mason. You know what I'm saying? You have Bruce Carrington. You know, you have these undercard fights where you're saying to yourself, Isley. You know what I'm saying? Even when you talk about you know, the females. Valier and Estrada, you know, their fight. What was the last fight? Even Alicia Baumgartner. You know, her fight's so exciting. But it just, to me, some of these male fights, they're kind of struggling to get the consumer snapped in to put their money on this fight. So they gotta do the A side, B side. You know what I'm saying? And they got to, you know, send that message. They got to send that pigeon over there with the orders. Once that pigeon land and come back, you know, and the orders have been, you know, received, that's how it seems like it's playing out to me. But to some fans, they just look at TV and say, so-and-so got beat up. It was legit. So-and-so got beat up, like Yadina Sugas. Yeah, he got beat up when he was doing fairly well. We're talking about a guy who did very well against Sean Porter. Very well against Sean Porter. He took less damage in Sean Porter fight than what Spence did when he fought Sean Porter. K of the year so far, WCS versus Ben Israel. I mean, I wouldn't call it a KO because Ben is I never consider him as to be opponent anyway. You know what I'm saying? He's just one of those guys who owes people money. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I wanna keep it moving off Edgar Berlanga. You know, he's gonna do what he does. You know, I believe Crawford beats Edgar Berlanga easily, makes him look crazy in there. You know, unfortunately, Eddie Hearns know that's a dangerous fight for Berlanga. They trying to get him in there with Canelo. And, you know, really, Crawford gets nothing for facing Berlanga anyway. Because if you look at Berlanga's resume, and for him to go out there and try to get Crawford's more qualified than Berlanga to step in there with Canelo, regardless if he in another division anyway. You know? If you was looking at the PFL and Bellator matchup Saturday, John Jones was there, and you had Chael Sonnen, and I forgot the Pat. I think his name was Pat Smith. He used to be an MMA fighter too. I believe that's who it was. And they was talking, and John Jones was asked his prediction on who he thought would win between Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou. And for those of you that follow mixed martial arts, understand that the pedigree when it comes to combat sports, pugilism, for John Jones and Ngannou is mixed martial arts. Now Ngannou has attempted to basically, just transfer over to boxing. And he was able to go in there and get the knockdown with Tyson Fury and go the distance. He's a big deal right now. They wanted to see a fresh face, and they got this big black fighter from Cameroon, former UFC heavyweight champion, who's likable. Francis Ngannou is a likable dude, man. He doesn't come off as brash. He comes off as like, yeah, you see, I've worked hard my whole life, and if I have to whoop ass, I know how to whoop ass. And people tell you that at one point in time, Francis Ngannou registered the hardest power punch, the hardest punch, and they said it was higher than Mike Tyson, right? So now that he's over there in boxing and he's about to go in there and face Anthony Joshua, John Jones was asked. John Jones is considered the GOAT of mixed martial arts. He's never been beaten. He's been beaten outside the ring by his own actions with drugs, peds, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, he's one of those freakish athletes, right? And people wasn't too pleased with his response because he said, in response to who he predicted to win, he picked Joshua. He said he's been fighting since he was a boy. Which John Jones was just being, he was being facetious, man, spiteful. He was just effing with Francis Ngannou to get him riled up because he felt that Francis left the sport so he wouldn't have to fight him. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't look at it that way. A lot of people understand Francis left because he wanted to change the way fighters was getting paid. He wanted to change himself and how he was getting paid. And the UFC wasn't able to oblige him. So he left him with the PFL, who was able to sit down at the table with him, and they could kind of come to an agreement to placate the situation moving forward. And he signed with PFL. But, a lot of people was complaining, took it as disrespect that John Jones would even say that about one of his compeers. When they asked him, he said he picks Joshua to win. I mean, come on, man. You can't take that serious. Joshua's going to have to prove that he can handle the pressure. He's going to have to prove that he can handle the pressure and make adjustments. I don't see Francis Ngannou being a Tyron Woodley. I don't. I don't see him taking a dive. I don't see him being a part of the Olympic dive team, in 2024. I see him going in there beating Joshua. He was able to drop Fury, which Joshua, he's not even trying to face Fury. For real. He lost twice to Fury's upcoming opponent, Alexander Usyk. No one's trying to see him step in there with Usyk again for a third time. And we're talking about a former cruiserweight. He couldn't even drop Usyk in 2 fights. He couldn't even get his titles back. So he's supposed to go in here and run through Francis Ngannou. Yeah, I know what you're saying. You're saying Francis Ngannou is still a tyro when it comes to the sport of boxing. I agree with you. He's absolutely a novice. But at the end of the day, he has been, and he is considered to be, a former UFC heavyweight world champ. Period. You can't take that away. He also is on record as being an 0-0 mixed martial artist, licensed professional boxer. 0-0 going in there with a two-time heavyweight world champion. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to look at Francis going in there able to land the shot. You know what I'm saying? Able to stay on his feet. To look very, very solid in there with a legitimate heavyweight who beat Deontay Wilder up 2 of the 3 times. You know what I'm saying? Who stopped Deontay Wilder in the 3rd fight. You know what I'm saying? On his shield, rather. So, for John Jones to go up here and say that in front of the people, it was a lot of people that was unpleased with that. Because they have a loyalty. Mixed martial artists have a loyalty, but John Jones has been known to, you saw what happened between him and Cormier. John Jones, he kind of hold grudges, in my opinion. So, if he thinking that Francis Ngannou left so he wouldn't have to fight him, that's what it is. That's what it is. Will Bud fight this year? I don't know, man. Look, that would be. Well, let me finish what I was saying. But I look forward to seeing Francis Ngannou getting there with Anthony Joshua. I'm definitely going for Ngannou in this. I'm really hoping that Ngannou beats Anthony Joshua and go on to have another fight. Because from the way it looks, Joseph Parker's complaining about a rematch clause he has with Zhang. And also Tyson Fury, they have a rematch clause, I believe, between him and Usyk. So when Al-Sheikh is saying that he wants the winner of this to fight each other, well, if anybody can make that happen in between, the rematch, is him. He has the money to do so. He has a different type of step aside money. Real talk. He has that different type of step aside money. So if Francis go ahead and beat Joshua, and then Fury beats Usyk, either way it goes, Ngannou stepping in there with Fury again would be, a fan favorite fight for the people to see. And if he steps in there with Usyk for the first time, that would be an interesting fight. I think it'll be a boring fight. It will be a very interesting fight. Because, goddamn it, Usyk ain't trying to get slept by I wouldn't say a former, by a mixed martial artist / boxer. Okay? Bud going past the year mark in July. I don't know if he's gonna take the whole 2024 off. It doesn't make any sense to me the way he's in camp. I think he fights. Who he fights is the bigger question. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to 76 on deck. He said Berlanga should have fought on Pro Box on a Wednesday night with that C-level opposition fighter he fought. Man, I totally agree, bro, that, to have him in the main event, in his hometown, you gotta look at it. Him signing with Eddie Hearns, they had to do it big. That's why I don't knock them. Like, one thing I admire about Eddie Hearns and how he does business, he can build up fighters that who are signed with him. He can talk that talk. Seriously, you know, they talking about Eddie Hearns when he was first initially came on the scene. You know, when they said he had that the zone deal, 1 billion. People were saying, "Oh, Eddie Hearns got 1 billion." No, it was contingent on this, that, and the other. And they have taken losses, but Eddie Hearns has still stayed in the pilot seat and kept the flight. You know, kept it a flight, right? Kept it in flight. But him signing with the zone, having a fight over there in his backyard, having a largely populated Puerto Rican boxing crowd. I guess that was the whole point for them to get him that exposure and to go in there and, of course, get a knockout. Nobody's going to convince me this man ain't knocked out nobody since 2020. For him to come over there and knock out McCrory, who was a tough fighter. McCrory was looking good in the early rounds. For real. He was looking good, man. And all of a sudden, oh, it's time. I'm getting sleepy. Okay, it's time. Put on a stopwatch. You know, I mean, come on, bro. McCrory was looking strong. And all of a sudden, he caught the itis. You know, the forcible itis that's going around, that's airborne. You know what I'm saying? In boxing. He caught the itis. He started to get tired. You know what I'm saying? He started to get tired and park bench on the ropes so freaking Berlanga could go there and start landing power shots out of power shot. And he was taking the power shots very, very well. And then he had to condition the viewers and hear the chant of the crowd. And then he slowly let that left hand down. He got hit. And then Berlanga hit him again. He goes down. And all of a sudden, a towel comes in, if I'm correct. Then the towel comes in. How? You're not going to give... You think Berlanga's hands are that lethal? What are you doing? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, man? This man haven't had a knockout since 2020, bro. We in 24. And you acting like he got the hands of stones? Man, that's boxing for you. That's boxing, y'all. Real talk. Hey, that's boxing, man. Don't say I ain't tell you. Sean News said, yeah, Francis is markable. Yeah, he's a markable guy, man. You know what I'm saying? He's a markable guy. Likable dude. People respect where he came from, what he did to get where he's at. They respect it. Hard worker. You know, he literally got it out the dirt. You know what I'm saying? He literally got it out the dirt, man. And these guys are going through what they go through to get over here to the U.S. And if you hear his documentary on what he had to do when he got over here to the U.S. and stuff like that, sleeping on the floor and stuff like that, and you know, just how he got into freaking fighting, period. Barely no freaking training. I mean, it's wild. It's wild, man. You know what I'm saying? At one point in time, him, Kamaru Usman, and Israel Adesanya was all champions at the same time. Unlike boxing, people always talk about racist this and that. But, you know, both of these, you know, Nigerian Nightmare, you know what I'm saying? Francis Ngannou from Cameroon, and you know, all of them was champions. Heavyweight division, welterweight division, and the middleweight division at the same time. You know, I mean, hey, it is what it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? Francis Ngannou is going to knock out Anthony Joshua, man. Frank Martin's situation with Gervonta Davis, man, I heard the fight is taking place. As far as that goes, I know some people think I'm going to say I'm happy for Frank Martin because he's getting paid. He's getting the that he was looking for with Shakur Stevenson. You know what I'm saying? He's getting you the bronchitis, when he was coughing over there. To my all he wanted a little bit of you know what I'm saying? So he got that with Gervonta Davis. But I want to know your thoughts on, do you all give him a 49% chance? Do you give him a 50% chance? Do you see this as any, any type of reflection? Let's just say this, right? Let's just say today, it's not much going on. The work week start tomorrow. Let's just say you drift off and you start to daydream, right? And you might have had some drink early on, you know what I'm saying? Or you might have had some MJ, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever y'all call it today. But let's just say you was daydreaming. Do you believe it's a possibility that you may stumble upon this fight? And it may be a reflection that you're thinking about Gervonta Davis and Frank Martin. And in that thought process, that Frank Martin, you would give him a equal or higher percentage to go in there and beat Gervonta. Is anybody in the chat thinking that? Anybody? Are y'all giving Frank Martin any type of percentage? Do you find it? Do you find him as an equal opponent to Gervonta Davis? Because they say, greatness is measured in boxing based off who you fought. Were they equal or greater to you for that fighter to accept the challenge and complete? Do anyone in the chat find that Frank Martin is an equal to greater fighter to challenge Gervonta Davis for his WBA title? Anyone? What's going on, Jones? How you feeling, bro? Anyone, please. That's a legitimate question I'm asking. I just need your input. Please. You know what I'm saying? I'll put it in the grade books as extra credit. Just do me that one. We're talking about goodwill. That's all. Goodwill and healthy welfare. Do anyone in the chat? You know what I'm saying? So Jones said Frank is going to sleep in 10. You know what I'm saying? He's giving Frank 10 rounds with Frank. He's giving Gervonta 10 rounds with Frank Martin. 10 rounds. That's pretty impressive. I would want him to go 10 rounds, being the Hector Luis Garcia. I think he was stopped in before. He was stopped in under 10 rounds. So appreciate that, Jones. Shelton, what's good? He said 60-40 fight in favor of Davis. So 40% is given. Okay, 40% is given to Frank. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate that. 60 to Tank. So no one has really limped in yet and say, I give Frank Martin 25. I give him 26%. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving them 70-30. 75-25. Y'all got hope in Frank, huh? Y'all got hope in Frank. Okay. All right. How many rounds do I give Frank with Gervonta Davis? Style for style. Because I ain't gonna lie, Frank Martin can box. He can box now. And he's an older cat. Him and Gervonta Davis is damn near. Don't hold me. I think they damn near, around the same age. Frank is 29 and Tank may be 28, 27, 28, something like that. But Frank always have aesthetically, he looks in shape, strong fighter. He does have his history with sparring with Tank. What do I give him in there with Tank, man? To be honest, I think Frank has the possibility of going at least 6 rounds with Tank. At least 6 rounds. Now, also, I believe he has the possibility of going the distance, because we could possibly get another one of those De Los Santos, Shakur Stevenson type of fights. Tank Davis, one thing about him, he takes his time. He takes his time, just like Leo Santa Cruz. People's up here saying, "Oh man, when he fought Leo Santa Cruz, he was scared. He was so cautious." You know what I'm saying? No, he was just waiting, patiently, methodical. That's what predators do. And he whipped that damn left uppercut in there, and his soul left his body. I was there. I was on deck for that fight. So Tank is a different type of hunter, aka El Chin Checker, bro. I'm curious to see how Frank Martin can handle Tank Davis's power. I don't see Frank hurting Tank at all, but I give him 6. I give him 6 rounds, bro. I give him 6 rounds because sometimes, Tank, it take him a little bit of time to get rocking and rolling. But when you start to see that coal on the end of his glove start to light up a little bit, it started to glow. You know what I'm talking about. It started to get that orange glow to it. That's when you know shit about to go down. That's when shit about to go down right there. You know what I'm saying? That's when the cookout's about to begin. That's when people about to start getting drunk. And you know what it is when Tank gets you intoxicated. It's usually because he done put that left or right on your chin. You know what I'm saying? So I give him 6 there, Jones, for real. I give him to the 6, man. Martin has a better chance than Rolly. I believe he's better than Hector Garcia slightly, so I give him about 40. Okay, so we got people saying that okay, so let me I appreciate the input, man. So let me go over here right quick. What the hell? So Hector Luis Garcia went out in the 9th. Ryan Garcia went out in the 7th. And Rolly went out in the 6th, of course. And Isaac Cruz went the distance. All right. I'm not gonna go down to Mario Barrios because that was up in a higher division. Plus Isaac Cruz, we all know he went the distance. So just looking at the 6th for Romero, the 9th for Hector Luis Garcia, and the Ryan Garcia, it was 7th. So for Frank Martin, he needs to basically just stand in that period and at least make it to the 10th round. You know what I'm saying? Because people look at Frank Martin and they say, okay, is he better than Rolly? Yeah, a lot of people say he's better than Rolly, right? But Rolly was actually, he was kind of pushing the pace early in the fight. We don't know what type of strategy Frank Martin has. Is he going to push the pace like Rolly did early in that fight? We don't know. Even Tank said he was going to chill. He said he was going to chill after he felt Rolly's power, and then he's going to come back and get the business. And that's what he did. Hector Garcia was fighting a pretty decent fight. He showed people what his fight strategy was in the face-off. The way he was standing there, damn near with a semi-Philly shell, he was going to stand there in the pocket and prove something. Until Tank hit him on the side of his face. No, can see, no. No, Mila, no. I mean, he couldn't see no more. Plus, I look at him as, going 9 rounds. He did very well to be a 130-pound champion. He did very, very well. And then, of course, that guy Ryan Garcia on to the next topic. Man Down Promotions giving him his cash out fight, the sacrifice. I've been hearing that floating around social media. It's been stilt walkers too. It's been people on stilts walking around passing that information. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want it to be all down on the ground floor. They want some type of success in the build up to this fight. I'm just wondering how disrespectful it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? But hey, Shot News, we want to give him some level of respect to say he's qualified. You know, he's qualified to be in there with Tank. Because you know what I said already. Things I've bounced off the ceiling came crashing back down to the floor. I don't know what he meant by that. I'm going to take it to the ceiling in my next fight. Ceiling has always been considered a limitation. Yes, a ceiling has always been considered a limitation. If a human being was to experience something crashing through the ceiling, 10 out of 10 we get injured. If, just say for instance, we was jumping on a trampoline and we went too high and hit our head, 10 out of 10 we get injured. Because the ceiling is a limitation. It prevents us from basically increasing or enhancing elevation at the time. Yeah, it's going to be some type of injury, right? So I don't know what Frank meant by that. All I know is when you hit the ceiling, you come back crashing down to the floor for which you started. Hope that's not the case. Hopefully he don't have a really nice first half of the fight, and then he end up on the canvas because he went as high as he can possibly go with Tank, and then he ended up getting stopped. I really want to see this be a test. Seriously, I want to see Frank shine, man. I really want to see Frank shine. I was pulling. I felt a little bit more respect for Frank when Keyshawn was talking his shit and he went over there by himself. Still to this day, you know, Frank was over there by himself, dolo. I said, okay. Frank, he said, man, I ain't waiting on no freaking security. I'm over here. You know what I'm saying? He went over there and talked this shit. And I can understand him getting disrespected and say, hey, this who I am. You know what I'm saying? I have some respect. But then I gave him respect for Michelle Rivera, real talk. Great fight. Great fight. But I just kind of lost what his direction was, what his intent was when he pulled out a Shakur Stevenson fight for the vacant WBC. Like, that would have been the breakout fight for you. You know what I'm saying? You would have definitely elevated your barometer of lightweight notoriety if you would have went in there and looked good against Shakur Stevenson. But you pulled out all over 500. You wanted the extra 5. And you haven't did anything. You're talking about a 2-division champion. You going in there to face. You haven't did anything. But yet you pull out and say you want another and you're going to have a big fight at the end of 23. That wasn't the case, brother. We didn't see you for the remainder of the year. But hopefully, Shaw News, you are incorrect. Hopefully you missed the target with that one. Hopefully he isn't the lamb who's about to be laid to the coals. Hopefully he's not. We're trying to be positive in 2024. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to, keep 7-Eleven Promotions as one of the top promotions in boxing and keep putting fighters on and keep on moving forward. That's it. Long as the deals are getting made, everybody's happy. She'll say, I asked Davis because Martin does not have enough experience. Skills are comparable because Davis ain't fought nobody either. Well, I really can't look at who Davis hasn't fought comparable to who people want him to fight. Tank Davis is a different fighter than Frank Martin, in my OP. Different fighter. It's some fights you can say, let's just say that, take this for instance, right? Perfect example, perfect comparison. They can say Tank Davis ain't fought nobody just like they said Crawford ain't fought nobody. I'm talking about before Kell Brook. They can say, oh, Crawford ain't fought nobody, Tank ain't fought nobody. But Tank can fucking fight. Tank can fight, and he has legitimate power. He can fight. But they're wanting him to step up. I'm looking at him as being one of these fighters. Yeah, certain people want him to fight, but they're acting like he can't already fight. Like, it's not going to be a huge adjustment for Tank stepping in here with one of these guys. Yeah, it's supposed to be, elite against elite. Okay. But And some fighters, like, say, for instance, Ryan Garcia, you say to yourself, he ain't fought nobody, okay? But yet, skill-wise, he's been putting on display flaws. You know what I'm saying? Wrinkles in his game that he needs to iron out. They just haven't improved like that. So when he finally stepped up against Tank, we was up here, juggling who would go further. Would he go further than Rolly? You know what I'm saying? Because Rolly's skill set was pretty much dysfunctional. Seriously. And he ended up going one round higher than Rolly. You know what I'm saying? Tank, yeah, he may not have the big names on his resume, but people know he can fight. People know that El Chin Checker can box, he can fight, and he's different. Just like they underestimated Crawford. They knew he can fight, they knew he can box, but they looked at his resume and kept on saying he ain't fought nobody. Some fighters that you can say that their resume is look a certain way, but you know they can scrap. And then you got other fighters that you look at their resume and you say, I don't know how he would look if he was to step up and fight so-and-so. Or you can say, hey, so-and-so, hey, they legit. They're official now. If they step up and fight that, it ain't gonna matter. It's gonna be transparent. They're gonna go in there and get that fight. They're gonna get that win. That's kind of where I'm at with Tank. You know what I'm saying? With any of these guys. I mean, he can fight, man. But I get what you're saying, though. I totally get what you're saying. But I don't lean heavy on that. That he ain't fought nobody, so he can't fight. I still give him a big chance against any of them guys at 135. Any of them. Frank from my city, I got supporting. Yeah, man, Be More. Shout out to Be More in the building, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Be More in the building. I can dig it. It's a fight that's interesting. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Real talk. OG on deck. What's good, Mr. Golden? How you feeling, bro? Samar Warren on deck. What's good with it, bro? Peace and blessings below. Salute WCS Certified. Stamp the like button and support the grind. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. But when it comes to Frank Martin and everything, I'm really looking for him to really show that he was worth avoiding or rescinding his situation with Shakur Stevenson. I want him to come over here and prove that he's worth more than that. He made a very solid decision. If he goes in there and beat Tank, of course he's gonna change his life. Of course. You know what I'm saying? Of course, man. Undefeated. We're talking about pay-per-view status. We're talking about one of the best in the sport. You know what I'm saying? 3-division champion. Of course. Frank goes in there and shows out. Now I must address this too. Let's remember Isaac Cruz went the distance with Tank, right? And that was the second time Tank has ever been the distance with a fighter. If Frank Martin go the distance with Gervonta and he loses, I don't know if he's still going to get the same hype and post-fight Chavo like Isaac Cruz did. I don't think people really going to be celebrating like they did. Tonight, a star has been born. I mean, I remember that. I remember Tank hugging this guy. I'm like, what? A star has been born? Dude, you went the distance in a losing effort. What are they talking about? A star has been born. It didn't make any sense to me. If Frank lose a 12-round decision to Tank, I don't see people doing that same shit they did with Isaac. I don't see it, bro. That puzzled the hell out of me. Tomorrow, a star has been born today. What? A star has been born? How? Because you went the distance. You already been. It's a fight. You know, you already had one fight on your record where you went the distance. I could see if Esau would have dropped Tank. You know, I would have felt better if he would have put Tank in some trouble, some adversity, and then Tank had to fight out of it, and it was a split decision win for Tank. Now that would say a star's been born, because pretty much we haven't seen Tank in that situation before. But man, y'all stay tuned, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's stay tuned and see what happened with this fight. Definitely it's going to be very interesting. And I'm curious to know what type of game plan Diddy James is going to have for Frank Martin. You know, it's easy for me to say, okay, if you're coming out of the Diddy James camp, already I'm not feeling confident that they have a solid game plan to go against Tank. See, at this moment, I'll say it just like I said about Crawford. I don't think Frank Martin's boxing IQ is higher than Tank. I've seen him do some shit in sparring that I haven't seen him do in the ring yet. For real, I seen him do some shit in sparring. I was like, that's unbelievable. How many repetitions did it take? How many sparring? How much practice did it take for you to get that down? I mean, some beautiful, unique shit, man. So I'm looking at that. You know, Tank has these abilities that you don't even see him dress that up in the ring, man. You don't even see him put it on the shelf, man. Like, dude, is dangerous. I don't think Frank Martin's IQ is higher than Gervonta, nor do I think it's equal. But when it comes down to durability, conditioning, you know, who's going to outlast who? If Gervonta lands a shot on Frank, can he take the shot? You know what I'm saying? Is he in better shape than we think he is? We see him coming there. He's ripped to shreds and everything. He looked bigger than what a fighter should be at 135. But what if Frank can take Tank Davis' shot? Well, if he can take it, then we're talking about a whole nother fight. Because if Tank can't put any fear or freaking gain the respect of Frank Martin, and Frank get more and more comfortable, he's still playing a dangerous game, but at least we get to see what can possibly happen if he's, you know, fluent enough to land some good shots on Tank. If he can box. You know what I'm saying? Can he outbox Tank, bro? That's the bigger question. Can he outbox Tank, man? No disrespect to the Mexican culture or fan base. Boxing is always trying to create the next Mexican superstar. That's why they big up Pitbull Cruz. Look, that's the way it's been for a long time. Like I spoke about this previously, how black fighters need to find out a way to basically navigate themselves through the current and get their brand out there, more exposure, right? Because it ain't going nowhere. The Mexican fan base, they love supporting their own. They love supporting their own. And just like you said, they always looking for the next Mexican superstar. Well, it's up to the black fighters to do something about it. They need to find a way to cater to the masses, to build up their brand. Because one thing about it, it's a lot of them. It's a huge Mexican fan base that's larger than the black fan base in boxing, period. It was more people in Texas when Mikey Garcia fought Errol Spence, watching that fight that was Latino, Mexican, Hispanic. It was more of a fan base, Mexican fan base, than it was a black fan base, if it's even a black fan base in boxing. I don't know. I don't know if it's considered a black fan base in boxing. But we know the Mexicans, Latinos, the Hispanics, they come out and support their fighters. Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, you know what I'm saying, the Cubans, They come out and support their fighter. Seriously, they come out and support their fighter. The Haitians, they're out there. But they definitely be trying to get the Canelo. They want to see who's going to be the successor to Canelo Alvarez. And I said this a while ago. I say, man, these fighters, these black fighters need to find a way to get the top spot like Floyd had it. I rarely use him as the bar, but Floyd was able to make a tremendous amount of money while he was competing in the sport. Right now, Canelo is in that spot. He's not, making the money that Floyd, but he's making millions. So the next one in line, why does boxing? I ask this question again. Why does boxing choose to put all this revenue into a single fighter? Why? And then be struggling trying to pay other fighters. That doesn't make any sense, man. They want to move an entire fight card from Vegas because it won't interrupt ticket sales. But yeah, you're trying to give all this money to Canelo. It's stupid. It make no business sense at all across the board in boxing when they're funding all this money to one fighter, one night, one ring, two fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have plenty other fighters that would love to get a piece of the pie. And whoever these promoters are, they don't look at it that way. That's why boxing is struggling. That's why people saying, hey, they need to implement a UFC model. And then you got boxers like Andre Ward saying, nah, they taking away some of our freedom to do what we want to do. Well, if somebody like Ward don't want it to become a bit more structured, regulated, and clean it up a little bit, don't complain about it then. But see, one thing I can say is that's not majority of the boxing fans, though. You know what I'm saying? That's not majority of the boxing fans that's saying no. I'm pretty sure it's a lot of boxing fans that's tired of all the belts, tired of the nonsense with, these fighters fighting mid to low tier fighters. And we're just not getting those exciting freaking trilogies. We this day and time, it's difficult to even get two fights. We rarely get a rivalry like Crawford Spence without them stepping in the ring. At least Canelo and Triple G, they fought to a draw their first fight, which pretty much hyped up the second fight, especially with Canelo testing positive for clenbuterol. It didn't affect anything because they suspended him retro to back to when, he was suspended when he had his fight. I think it was February or whatever. And then they stayed on regular scheduled program. He went in and they had a very good rematch. Not only that, it took Canelo like 7 fights, man, to give Triple G his trilogy, which hardly anybody even watched. But my whole point for saying that, how many fights do you see that you take twice? Like Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk, it didn't really develop into a rivalry in the heavyweight division. You know what I'm saying? They did fight twice. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury 3 times. You rarely get this, man. You rarely get it. We got a Brian Castano, Jamel Charlo at 154. Was that considered a rivalry, or it was just considered the champion didn't do enough to beat the challenger, or the challenger did enough to basically force the judges to call it a draw because they didn't want them belts to change hands? So that went to a rematch. But how often do we see rivalries built? You know what I'm saying? Even just 2 fights, 2 solid fights. When do we get to see that often? We don't. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like one and done, man. We don't see the rematch. It's almost like one and done, gone, get up out of here. Peace. We don't see the Devin George Kambosos. See, that wasn't a rivalry. That was a contractual binding agreement. That was the only reason why he fought Kambosos twice. Because it was a rematch in that motherfucker. That wasn't a rivalry. You know what I'm saying? If Lomachenko would have had any sense, he would have put a rematch clause in there when he fought Teofimo Lopez. We don't know what would have happened. We don't know how. It could have turned into a trilogy, bro. Yeah, Pacquiao versus Marquez. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's difficult to try to have a solid rivalry. You know what I'm saying? The rivalries like we used to have back in the day. Unbelievable. You know, Roy Jones, Antonio Tarver. You know, it's just wild. You know, to kind of see where boxing is at right now in this era, and then how the money is funny, and the things promoters have to go through with the fighters to try to build up fights for consumers to come and see. It always have to be via knockout. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wait, this got to be via stoppage. It's almost like brainwashing, man. For real talk, it's kind of like brainwashing for real. Like, people go there and say, "Oh man, you got the knockout." But me, I'm looking at it like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that, man. Based off your opponent's previous, bro, he didn't seem like his conditioning, like he was fatiguing like that. You know, he just sat on the ropes and waited, just like Robert Helenius. He was having his way with Anthony Joshua. You know, having his way, bro. He was swelling, you know, Joshua up. He was making him wear the fight. And then all of a sudden, say cheese, bing, hit him with the damn frame. The money shot, down goes Helenius. Down goes Helenius. Down goes Helenius, you know? Real talk. I mean, come on, bro. I don't want to be a Grinch because we had the first part of the year and Christmas is so far away. But we shall keep faith. All right. Belanga, hey, you better not step in there with Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Cruz though. I didn't put Andy Cruz on here. You know, Cruz did what he's supposed to do. He still got some work. That's all I'm gonna say. He still got some work to do. I'm looking forward to Benavidez Vosnik for the WBC interim light heavyweight title. You know what I'm saying? I'm really looking forward to that fight. You know, for Benavidez to move up to 175 and show people that, you know, really he's a freaking cruiserweight, if you ask me. You know, as big as David Benavidez can get in between fights. He's a big boy, man. But I'm looking forward to that fight. And then lastly, once again, I rotated back around to Canelo Alvarez. Who is he fighting, man? Who are you fighting next? Who is you fighting? You know what I'm saying? You're trained up here talking about your legacy is solidified. Yeah, we know that. Of course. But who are you fighting in May? That's all I want to know. It better not be Donnie Pendleton either. Or Reggie Strickland. It better not be any one of them two fighters right there. It better not be Archie Moore either. Seriously. Seriously. You know what I'm saying? Better not be Roy Jones and Antonio Tarver. I'm waiting to see who Canelo is fighting. But I'm not going to lose no sleep over it, though. I would like a surprise, though. I ain't going to lie. I would like a surprise. Shout out to Haynes Legacy in the building. I see you, fam. What's good? Hope all is well with you and yours, man. But that's all I got right now, man. Long standing. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. Shout out to the hottest chat in the MF and game, A-Side Official. You already know what it is. Peace. I'm out.